Welcome back to Tabletop Titans and another Titan Tactics. Arks of Omen reintroduces the concept of allies, which allows you to take an additional detachment from a friendly faction with some limitations. The question is this something that we're going to see on the competitive tables, or is it something best left to a narrative game? Hopefully you guys enjoy this content, and if you do, like and subscribe down below. It greatly supports the channel. Let's dive on in. So how does it work? In Arks of Omen, you have your Arks of Omen detachment, and you're also going to get up to one allied detachment. And basically this detachment is based on who your main detachment is. Certain factions can take only certain allies. It's a bit more limited than before, but there are also some new options. If you're Imperium, you can of course take Inquisition, all that good stuff, but you can also now take a Leagues of Votann patrol detachment, which is a new and exciting opportunity. If you're Asuryani or Drukhari, you can take one Harlequin's patrol. This is basically replacing the traveling players rule from before. If you're Chaos, you can take a Chaos Knight. If you are a Chaos Space Marines Legion of pretty much any sort, you can take a patrol of the demons that match your Legion. So Thousand Suns would get Tzeentch demons, Slaanesh, or Emperor's Children would get Slaanesh demons, Death Guard gets Nurgle, and if you're Chaos Space Marines Codex and you're not one of the main 4 factions that are connected to the gods, then you can take a patrol of whatever you want as far as demons are concerned. So exciting opportunities there. However, there is one major problem with this. Let's take a look. Most books have been written to encourage mono-faction building in 9th edition. There's been a big push towards there, saying you can bring in other armies, but you are going to lose something if you want to do that. And the Allies kind of takes this to its furthest extreme. In Space Marines, for example, you have to have your whole army consisting of Adeptus Astartes models, or unaligned, or agents of the Imperium. Anything else is going to break that, and you're going to lose your super doctrines. Now, unfortunately, in Arks of Omen, there is no exemption for this. It says you can take a Votann patrol, but there's no additional exception. You would actually need this exemption from within the Space Marines book itself, and they chose not to write that, or perhaps it's missing in an upcoming FAQ. So right now, if you add a Votann patrol, you're going to lose your Devastator doctrine, your assault, your tactical, all that stuff. If your other armies, you're going to lose basically the same super ability. So if you are Asuryani, you'll lose your Fate dice. If you're Harlequins, your Luck dice. If you're Custodes, you'll lose your Katas. And it goes on and on and on. Cabal points, Kalyan, Mont Ka, Contagion points, all that stuff. It's going to go away if you bring in an allied detachment. And this puts us in a tough position because it would be really cool to take these allied detachments. They're interesting. Competitively, they sure are compelling, especially moving forwards. But right now, it feels like the negatives far outweigh the positives in 2 regards, which is the strange thing. On one hand, you are punished competitively for taking this because you're going to lose your super doctrine or whatever it is, right? And then on the other side, you are kind of punished narratively as well because you're going to lose that extra sauce, that extra flavor that made your army interesting, right? In pretty much all regards, you're losing the new rule that you got in your 9th edition codex. So really, really big punishments on both sides against allies. And so for this reason, I think we're mostly going to be leaving the allies at home, regardless of the context. Now, we definitely respect GW's take on trying to make sure this is limited, right? There have been problems with the allies in the past. If you have been around long enough to have seen things like Taudar or the monstrosities that Necrons could ally with back in 6th and 7th edition, that was not a good time. So we understand they want to be careful with this. But is this a mistake? Is this an FAQ required change? Or maybe this is what they want and this is how it's going to be moving forwards. Having said that, you really want to bring a Votann detachment. You really want to bring a Knight. Look at your army, decide how much is it worth to you. If we're talking competitively, especially, right? What is worth losing? Is it worth losing Canicles to gain the awesome melee from like an E-Champ or something on Admech? Or, looking at demons for certain Legion traits that maybe aren't fantastic to start with? That is where we want to look to see if there's any possibility for these detachments to work. So overall, frankly, we're going to be giving allies a pass. It just hits too hard in both the narrative and the competitive sense. They need to add an exemption in line with the Agents of Imperium, Agents of Chaos, unaligned units if they want this to be more permissive and to let everyone play with allies across the board. This totally could create the opposite problem, right? If every Imperium player can take a Votann patrol, I think there's going to be a whole lot of that. So might not be intentional, but let us know in the comments below if you think this is deliberate. Do you think this is the right call? What allies would or are you going to be taking in your armies? And of course, check out all the rest of the amazing content we've been putting out to cover the Arks of Omen. That's going to be it for me. I'll catch you guys next time on the tabletop. Bye!